Hello, this is my final video project on Rococo art style. Welcome to my little gallery, where I plan to introduce and further discuss on Rococo art. As I was planning my video project, I wanted to make this a bit more special and fun for myself and others watching, and came up with the idea on inviting you to my island on Animal Crossing. You would think that a game and art has no correlation, but I'm actually here to prove you wrong. Follow along as I explain more about Rococo art, specifically on how this art style began and have become. This can't be a research video without learning, so let's deep dive into the Rococo art style. And what other better way to learn than the internet? Rococo art began around 1723 and ended around 1759. Centuries before the term bling was invented to denote ostentatious shows of luxury, Rococo infused the world of art and interior design with an aristocratic idealism that favored elaborate ornamentation and intricate detailing. The paintings that became signature to the era were created in celebration of Rococo's grandiose ideals and lust for the aristocratic lifestyle and pastimes. The movement, which developed in France in the early 1700s, evolved into a new, over the top marriage of the decorative and fine arts, which became a visual lexicon that infiltrated 18th century continental Europe. Early Rococo art began when early Rococo artists turned away from Baroque art in response to the church's power and authority declining. An easier understanding of what Rococo art style really is, think Baroque art but make it lighter, with lighter themes and lighter color palettes. Rococo was not just an art style, but a trend. It was a trend wave of style that influenced architecture, furniture design, and even fashion. Now on to the MVP of Rococo art style, François Boucher. Born in Paris in 1703 and lived till 1770, he was son to Nicolas Boucher, a lace designer. In the early 1720s, he studied for a short time with François Lemoine, who was one of the leading historical painters of the day, who would later be appointed first painter to the king. François Boucher won the Grand Prix in 1723 at the age of 20 and was appointed first painter to the king in 1765. He was also shortly director at the Academy of Royal, which was an organization of very famous artists during that time. Here's two art pieces from his extensive collection of his popular works. On the left is the Odalisque, and on the right is the Triumph of Venus. Boucher did not rise to fame by luck, but rather by the likings of Madame de Pompadour. Madame de Pompadour was Boucher's sponsor and a major patron of the arts. She was chief mistress of King Louis XV, and she commissioned a lot of the art that he made. Her interest in the art scene was a big factor into the art that we see today from the Rococo art timeline or time period. Here's two of my favorite pieces from Francois Boucher, commissioned to Madame de Pompadour. The left piece would be the rising of the sun, and the right would be the setting of the sun, which both were hung in Madame de Pompadour's villa. Even though Rococo art was very popular, it was not loved by all and came quickly to an end because of the criticism. A lot of philosophers criticize Rococo art for being indecent, immoral, and no longer relevant in an age of increasingly serious concerns. Enlightenment thinkers of the time condemned Rococo art for being immoral and indecent and searched for a new kind of art that would be moral instead of immoral and teach people right and wrong. Critics of Rococo stated that the style of Rococo was the wrong moral to what led the country to fall from its reign. In France, the Rococo style had already begun to decline by the 1750 when it came under attack from critics for its excessiveness, and by the 1760s, a more modest movement called Neoclassicism began to replace the Rococo style. Neoclassicism began around the period of the rediscovery of Pompeii, and it spread all over Europe as a generation of art students finished the Grand Tour in Italy with rediscovered Greco-Roman ideals. This became the end of the Rococo art style in the 17th century, but the Rococo style is still alive and thriving in our world still. Now that we have finished the learning portion of the video, let's go explore the island. As I was preparing for this video, I found some great examples of Rococo art style and how they have been hiding inside this fun game. First, I visited my island museum to see if there are any art pieces that I could find that were under the Rococo art style. The only painting that I could find that was the most closest to the Rococo style would be this painting by Birth of Venus by Sandro Botticelli. However, this was painted earlier than the 1700s, so I felt like this wasn't a good example. So I went to explore the island a little bit more and found a house that was filled with Rococo style pieces. From the rug to the couch to the wallpaper all around really exemplifies what Rococo is. Very detailed, very big representation of wealth from the gold accents. Very floral, a lot of floral etchings here and there. The very fine details of the rug show that very Rococo style. Even the dresses that both characters are wearing is very Rococo themed. And it was kind of just fun to see that a game also has a lot of these examples.